Hi guys, thank you for joining me here on Astrology and Earth Magic. I'm Jen and I'm here to provide a little astrological guidance to talk about our forecast for November 2025. So we changed the clocks back this weekend, so really starting to embrace that dark. So we are just going to celebrate Samhain tomorrow night and Halloween. So that's kind of like the bringing in of the darkness and the celebration of the longer nights and the shorter days. But the truth will be coming to light this month, and Scorpio will really see to that. So speaking of things really embracing the darkness, the Three-Eye Atlas just yesterday, if you guys are familiar with it, it's that comet that just kind of showed up, and it's kind of a little bit got a lot of different theories about it, I guess you could say. I'm kind of becoming obsessed with it a little bit, but so it just yesterday, it was at its perihelion, I'm not sure how to say it, but that means its closest approach to the sun, and it's actually hiding behind the sun. So embracing that darkness behind the sun on the other side. Personally, though, this month, we may start off with some relationship issues. So Venus is in Libra, will be square to Jupiter in Cancer. So we will feel like something isn't right. You can feel like something is off balance. We may have a tendency because of that to overindulge on comfort foods and drink, some stuff that makes you feel like kind of warm and cozy that really aren't always the best for you. So also the Three-Eye Atlas will make its closest approach to Venus. So what does that mean? Will it be will that be exposed? Will that be brought into light? So we'll have to see. Really excited to see kind of the things that pan out with this. So it just made its approach to the sun. Now it's going to be heading towards Venus, and that will be on the 2nd. So Mars may add a little drama on the 3rd, and it's going to trine Neptune just before moving into Sagittarius and then opposing Uranus. So, if you have, Mars wants to expose what's hidden. It wants to bring things out. It's in Scorpio. So it wants to just okay, I'm opening this veil up, kind of like what's going on, this season where the veil to the other world is the thinnest. So, expect some really exciting things to be happening, and you don't know what Mars can really, that action will really do. And just before it moves into Sagittarius and opposes Uranus. So again, it wants to, sorry about that, my cat's knocking stuff over. So it wants to expose what's hidden. So again, watch out if you have deep, dark secrets and skeletons in your closet. Expect the unexpected, expect something to come popping out, and maybe even something about somebody or some surprise information. We'll finally sextile Pluto on the 6th. So something potentially transformational that really can have you question your whole belief system, really, because this is in Sagittarius. So, this can really be about religion, have a religious influence to it. Also, those people, those influencers, the people that kind of are the powers of persuasion, I guess you could say, exposing what is hidden, or they're going to be the ones that are going to be exposed. So a really interesting beginning of the month, I think. Definitely a different vibe than October, where October was more of that, we're signing peace treaties and everything's kind of doing better, but all of a sudden we have the government shutdown, and then I think things kind of are going to get ramped up from that. But then we have the full moon coming up in Taurus. Now, I talked about this in my video, definitely check that out, because this isn't going to be just a nice, hungry full moon like it's in Taurus about like, sultriness and that kind of thing. This comes along on the 5th. And this is all about a decision needing to be made. It's kind of like a breaking free from oppression. So definitely check that video out. I'm going to link it at the end if you haven't. It's breaking free from those who are over controlling. So this can be a spouse, a parent, a boss, a friends, anyone that's over controlling that you feel is just like a toxic force in your life that you need to break free from. So you need to make like almost an escape. So you have to have that escape route. You might feel like, I can't do this, I'm scared to death, especially if this is, with a spouse or something like that, that's your whole life. So you could be uprooting your whole life, but this could be something if they are abusive, if they're over controlling, it could be something that you really have to do. And, unfortunately, even though you could be scared and you may, if it is something where you're going to give up a lot, give up your home and go out, you may have to hit that rock bottom in order to then rise out of the ashes again as a new you, a new liberated you. Venus then will go into Scorpio on the 6th. So we have passions really running deep. We, our emotions are really, really kind of bubbling. Venus also will square Pluto again. It's that breaking free of control. And this shows like a partnership. So maybe breaking free of a partnership that you don't feel like is balanced. So you might be in, again, some kind of a friendship, partnership, marriage, something to do with a business maybe that you opened up where you feel like someone's trying to dominate you and those scales are not quite level, that they're being over controlling. So it really is. Breaking free can be terrifying, but what is it? What is it that's controlling you? Is it a person? Is it even a thing? Is it, maybe like a substance abuse of some sort that you might be scared to give up because you don't know how your body's going to react or that type of thing. So again, it's breaking free of what is controlling you, who or what is controlling you. And you really know deep down what that is. So Uranus is retrograde and it will be back into Taurus on the 7th. So again, it's a wake-up call. So this whole beginning of the month is all about just, you need to do something. There's work that needs to be done and you need to really lay that groundwork. So if you are planning on like, I'm going to leave, I'm going to do this, I'm going to break free of this, this is where you want to start laying that groundwork. Use that Taurus to prepare for the changes that are coming. It's like, okay, so I need to do this and this and this, like, just get things ready, get your financial situation under control, put things maybe in your name or whatever you feel like you might need to do to prepare for these changes that are coming. This again, like can be the financial stability of it. It can be also your health and your physical stability, trying to, do something can be hard and it could be exhausting on yourself. So, really just kind of finding and getting healthy and working out, cutting out those substances that really, and it's pretty much like a only the strong shall survive kind of feel to it to me. So look at how you can get healthy, and that is mentally and physically healthy. Mercury on the 9th goes retrograde, and that is going to be until the 29th. So pretty much the whole month of November, it'll be retrograde, or at least in a pre and post shadow stage. This will start at 6 degrees Sagittarius and then will retrograde back into Scorpio, back to the 20th degree of Scorpio. And now check this out in your chart to see what you have at those degrees, because it's going to be passing over 3 times. And this is going to be, a quicker succession, like in 3 months. So it already made 1 pass during its pre-shadow, and then it'll make the other 2 passes during its retrograde and then the post-shadow period. So what do you have going on in your chart during these degrees? In these degrees that this is where your mind's going to go. This is where maybe thoughts are going to keep popping up in what area of your life, if it's 10th house, maybe it's your work, maybe 6th house is your health, and so on and so forth. It's rethinking, going back, rethinking and remembering things. And again, getting that groundwork ready. So, okay, so here's what I need to do, and going back and rethinking about things. I actually have Neptune right within those degrees. So I really want to make sure that my mind is open, that my mind's open physically or psychically and spiritually to really help keep focused. And so I could lose focus easily. That Neptune kind of has you a little bit dreamy, has you a little bit confused sometimes. It can keep things a little bit foggy. But so I want to mentally know that this is coming so that I can mentally prepare for it. So I don't go making mistakes at work or whatever. So, just to really, my mind's got to focus. So you can do mantras to just say, okay, today I'm going to stay focused. Today I'm, and just kind of prepare yourself for it. All about preparation and knowing what's coming that can really help how you deal with all of these transits that are going to be coming up this month. On the 11th, Jupiter will also station retrograde, and that will be at 25 degrees Cancer, through going back to about 15 degrees Cancer on March 11th. So it's going to be a long time that this is going to be. And where, again, this falls is going to be on our belief systems, maybe where you can even reface an opportunity or regain an opportunity, I guess you could say, for maybe some good fortune, maybe some, good luck. If something is re-presented to you, don't let it get away this time. If there's something that you kind of like, maybe I should have did that, now is the time to do it. So these two are going to be working together. That Mercury and that Jupiter are going to be working together to really just kind of get our mindset right so we know what we need to do. Again, going back to, that passionate Venus squaring Pluto. Again, we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do to break free of whatever's controlling us. And these could even be just thoughts that are controlling you. You could have those obsessive, intrusive thoughts that just keep coming up. This is some retrogrades that can really help with that. With the Jupiter, it can be a spiritual kind of rethinking or revamping, even like a type of like a religious, maybe come to Jesus type moment where, you might start, rethinking of getting back into religion if you got out of it, or getting out of religion that you just got into, like, oh, maybe this isn't working for me. Like, oh, I just joined this religion and it ends up it's a cult. So now I maybe want to rethink this and get out of it. So, it could be any of these type of things. So you just want to look in your chart, see what's going on in those degrees in your chart. So see where this is going to be kind of affecting you. What do you have in Cancer? What house is that? What's going on in there. So on the 12th, we have Mars, a Mars-Mercury conjunction. So Mercury's retrograde coming back, and they're going to be conjunct in Sagittarius. So again, ideas, actions, belief systems, religious, reactions, just something put into play. So this is when things can kind of start, getting that groundwork laid, like we said, but Mars is wanting to put things into action and take action or reaction. So you're either going to be that person putting the action in or the reaction in. So we're going to here's how I'm going to deal with this. Or, it's kind of going to be that mentality a little bit. On the 19th, Mercury will oppose Uranus trining Neptune. So now we're getting into the middle of the month, a little bit past. So maybe things aren't quite so deep, but we still have so much going on in Scorpio that things, and it's that Scorpio, Sagittarius, where we just have a lot of that. So you want to be ready for things to be in question, questioning your beliefs, questioning the things that you have come to believe in your life, and really kind of, how are you going to deal with that on a personal level? So on the 19th, Mercury will be opposite to Uranus and then trine Neptune. So it's a change of thoughts. It's what you believed. Like, oh my God, my mind is blown. Now that more information is coming out about things and more information is coming to light, are you really rethinking, a feeling kind of like an abrupt spiritual awakening almost, or maybe you're shifting your focus towards a new dream. Maybe you're giving up on that old dream and moving forward with a new dream, something that maybe makes a little more logical sense. So it will then, Mercury will conjunct the sun on the 20th. So our drive and motivation and our ideas are taking on a new meaning. And we were thinking the actions that we had. We're rethinking our plans for the future. We're rethinking our dreams and our goals. And what are we going to do? How are we going to, if you just think of how the month is going along so far. So at first, beginning of the month, we are preparing ourselves for a big change, for a big release, for that big, I'm breaking free type of moment. I'm getting rid of this. I'm dropping whatever is controlling me. And now you're focusing on a new dream. So you're going in a new direction, meaning like we're rethinking our actions and moving forward. Everything's retrograde, so we're not moving forward at a very quick pace. This is going to be that building the groundwork. So just think of November as like you're going to have a lot of things just exposed to you and things coming out, shocking things. And it really is going to make you question your beliefs, and it's really going to make you kind of rethink things and rethink what your goals were. Now this one, with all this going on, the Mercury opposing Uranus trining Neptune, this just, again, 3-eye atlas. It's just, what if we find something out? What if something happens? It's coming closer to Earth. It's going to, like I said, on the 2nd, it's going to be at its closest move towards Venus. What's it going to be bringing from Venus with it? What is it going to learn? What is it going to bring? Is it going to bring balance, harmony, knowledge? Is it going to be bringing peace with it? So maybe we'll have a little revelation of that. Maybe it's not an actual, they're saying that it's made out of different things, that the tail's a little bit different. I'm reading so many different things on it. I'm seeing that, it's the second coming of Christ, or it's a native, kind of a native proverb, I guess, of something that was going to be happening. So really interesting, I think, to just kind of like be alive at this time so that we can experience what this might be. And maybe it's going to be nothing. Maybe it's just going to zoom by and everyone's going to be like, oh, hey, well, all right, that was uneventful, but that also might be a good thing too. But we all know that something big is going to happen this year, and a lot of that's already been happening. So this could just be another thing to add on to it. So the news has just not been boring lately, I'll tell you that. So with this reawakening that we have the new moon in Scorpio on the 20th. So a new rising up from the ashes, a kind of burying of our old dreams and our going down to our deepest depths, really going within ourselves, really introspectively, to then come out maybe newer, more healthy mentally and physically, And this is all that's closing in because we have the new moon at 28 degrees 11 minutes, conjunct Mercury 28 degrees 27 minutes, and opposite Uranus that is at 29 degrees 29 minutes. So it's all by a little more than a degree at those anaretic degrees, those last degrees, that something is going to happen, that something has to change. And be it by our choice or, Uranus doesn't always like to give a choice. So sometimes it's just like, here's the new way of life. So get ready. So with Mercury conjunct that new moon in Scorpio, we will be really on high alert. Because Mercury really has us our mind is going to be sharp. Our skepticism, though, will have us acting as investigators, probing. Okay, so, what's coming to light? I want to know more about this. Those maybe even having some deep, intense conversations that you haven't been wanting to have. Maybe with that person that you're trying to break free from or something like that. Maybe even memories popping up from the past that kind of are bringing you back. So we do have lots of retrogrades, so you can always expect that kind of stuff to happen during that. And these can all be little reminders that keep popping up with the waxing of the moon. And on the 20th also, we have Uranus to be in its exact sextile to Neptune. So they've been kind of, really close, but that is going to be exact on the 20th. And this is just a sextile is not quite like the trine, but it's more of just a blending of kind of energies, positive energies that are working together, that just kind of get along and work together, and really is going to reawaken our senses. We can feel something is off. Even if you can't see it clearly, again, you feel it. Just like we were saying earlier in the month, where something just doesn't seem in balance. Something just feels off balance. On the 21st, the sun then moves into Sagittarius, which brings us Sag season. So just after opposing Uranus, where you could, be a little bit struggling and having a change of heart, even struggling with maybe if your faith or your spirituality. It's all about that spiritual awakening. So if you are struggling, this might be the point where you kind of see the light and you're like, oh, and you kind of let it in and then accept it. So the more that you block it, the rougher it's going to be. If you let it in, it's going to be a little more flowy, a little bit more easy for you, even if it's kind of scary. The 22nd brings Mercury trine to Jupiter, and Mercury, again, still in retrograde. It's going to be trine to Jupiter and trine to Saturn. So what's that? It's a grand trine. So we have Mercury grand trine in water signs because Mercury is in Scorpio, Jupiter is in Cancer, and Saturn is back in Pisces. So we have our grand trine in water. So this mental clarity, once we gather all these facts, it's, with all this digging that we're doing, with all that deep Scorpio, quest for, the real deep, dark truth of things, this realizations or revelations might come with a lot of emotions. So, you might just feel like breaking down and just, letting your emotions go and crying and just, but these can be a good thing. Let those tears flow, because holding on to your emotions can actually be damaging. And again, we are working on healing ourselves mentally and physically, and sometimes just getting a good cry out can really help with that. Maybe let those, tears just flow, the negativity and all that bad right out of you. You could feel better, and we'll have a more positive outlook moving forward. So on the 24th, Mars will then square the North Node. So this one, I think, if you just think of how the month is building up, I think that with what we've learned and what kind of things will be coming out, things are going to be exposed, secrets coming out. Now it's time for karma to do its job. And karma will come to those who, maybe lied, cheated, did the not so good things in order to get ahead, or just in general in their lives. And of course, there is going to be a price to pay for that. So karma could be coming up, and this could be the judgment day. And this could be, again, what Atlas is bringing along from Venus, with that Venus also conjunct Mercury. We will see that justice kind of prevail. We will finally see, have some good positive news where we'll see, okay, it's judgment day, and those who are bad people might get what they deserve. And these could be these people that are controlling us, or these things that are controlling us. And things, end up being more positive because they get their comeuppance, I guess you could say. But on a side note, we do have Venus conjunct Mercury. So you want to say, if you do have a partner that isn't overly controlling and that you love, or even your friends, your family, anyone that you just love and appreciate, say those kind things to them and show them that you appreciate them. And, just say something nice, and, and it will just make them feel good. So I think that's a good aspect for that. So Venus will then, after that conjunction, will trine Jupiter on the 26th. So, where can we see this good fortune and this happiness? Where can we find that good fortune? And I think this is perfect for one day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving on the 27th. So, which really, if you think of Thanksgiving, it's the start of holiday season. I always do this road race in the morning. When I get home, we catch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And even back when I was a little kid and at my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, when the end of the Thanksgiving Day Parade came and Santa's at the end, that was what kicked off the holiday season for me. And that was just so exciting. And it still is like that for me. So I feel like that's really the kickoff of the holiday season, with a nice, beautiful Venus trine to Jupiter. So good fortune and happiness, hopefully. So you want to really just give thanks for everything that you have, your family, your friends, your good fortune, a good job, your pets, whatever. I'm thankful for, whatever that you have that you just really, really appreciate. With Venus and Jupiter, just feel free to eat to excess, just to feel those really good feels. Take a nap later in the day, sleep it off. Because on the 29th, Venus will then oppose Uranus. So we get the feels, and then maybe we get some exciting news, or we do something new and exciting, or do something spontaneous with the person that we love. Maybe if you don't have a significant other, or you did make that kind of exit, maybe you'll meet somebody new. So on the 30th, Venus then trines Neptune. So let that romance sweep you away. You're letting yourself go deep, head first, feet first, whatever you want to call it. Venus is in Scorpio, so you're really feeling it, that intense desire. So just get it, because with that optimistic, and go with the flow, we have Venus moving into Sag. So we know with that, with Sag, things always have a way of working out and just falling into place. So if you're kind of just doing something, new, exciting, something maybe even a little bit risque, maybe it's all going to work out in the end anyway. So, as 3-1 Atlas is at its closest approach to Venus on November 2nd, is it bringing to Earth Judgment Day? Is it, which will lead to a more fair and balanced future, perhaps. You know, its closest approach to Earth will be on December 18th. And this is if it stays in its current trajectory. So one thing I read that if it's, we'll know if it's an alien, if it, whoa, my cat's gonna knock my finger. See, this is why I do my videos outside, but we're having a storm right now. Anyway, so this is how you know if it's an alien, if all of a sudden just changes trajectory. So if it's going forward and it's still, we should be able to actually see it on the 19th from here on Earth. And this is going to be the day before the new moon. And 3i Atlas will be in Aries, or not in Aries, in Leo. So when we can see it, it's going to be in that kind of show me and look at me sign. So I found that kind of amusing as well. See, I know I keep talking about it, but I've been obsessing about it. So if you don't know about it, definitely look into it because it's fascinating. So will it be a spiritual awakening? Will it be bringing a spiritual awakening, or we will just find that on our own, I guess. For all of us, you know, maybe our spiritual awakening is going to be, holy shit, aliens do exist. You know, and there was, if you think back to what everyone was talking about when Pluto was going into Aquarius, everyone was saying, you know, oh, the government's opening those alien files. Oh, maybe we're going to find out some true alien things. So, you know, who knows? Something is definitely happening, I feel, and I'm excited to see what it brings. So I think that even though November might be an emotional basket case type of month, might be a lot of tears, I think it's also going to bring a lot of exciting things. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you've been looking into this comet, or just about anything you want to say, please like and subscribe and share and tell others about the channel, because I really appreciate all of you for coming and watching. And I would love for you to help the channel grow by just spreading the word around. So I hope to see you all soon and talk to you soon. And we're going to talk about some retrogrades. Maybe we'll even do some shorts about the comet. I don't know. Talk to you soon. Bye.